Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Ben, this is Books with Genghis Khan, and today I have for you my April reading wrap-up, and it was a spectacular reading month with a lot of variety and all 4 to 5-star reads, which is always what I'm hoping for here. And I was part of the TBR Blitz Readathon on the Keymark Discord, and it was perfect because the prompts encouraged me to pick up a lot of books I had on the back burner or that I had some hesitation about picking up. So I am thrilled to have gotten through a lot of the real big heavy hitters that I've been hoping to do over the past few years. And it started off though with a new release. That was a delight. That was Tress of the Emerald Sea. My physical edition from the Kickstarter finally came in, and I had a blast with this. It was a delight. The book is beautiful to hold. The amazing art that's inside of it added a lot to the experience, and I did it immersively almost the whole time through with Michael Kramer's narration, which he's doing Hoyd narration, and I absolutely love it. I just had a blast with the whole experience. It was a lot of fun. There was some tension, but it was very lighthearted all the same. And yeah, I could not have asked for anything more for this newest Cosmere standalone. Then I turned to an arc that I had of Adrian Tchaikovsky's newest novella, And Put Away Childish Things. And Tchaikovsky is one of my favorite authors. I want to stay on top of more of his new releases as I try to catch up on a lot of the backlist. And this one was strange. I didn't really know what to make of it at the beginning. It's taking place in 2020 in England with not a very likable main character who's the only POV. But it's its own strange, weird take on adult portal fantasy. And it ended up really hooking me by the end. It's just about 200 pages. It's a real oddity. I wouldn't go out of your way to get a physical copy, but if you ever are in the mood for something a little wacky with a lot of sardonic British humor, this one could hit the spot. And it ended up actually getting me emotionally invested by the end, so I gave it 4 stars. A very strange book, but yeah, ended up being worthwhile. All right, and then I dove in to something I've been looking forward to for years, which was Jade City. The beginning of this was a little rough because I was planning to do it mostly on audio, and Andrew Kishino's narration just was not working for me at all. Just did not like the way he did just default narration. It felt a little robotic. Wasn't loving the voices he was doing for characters. Nothing was feeling like the right vibe. But when I just turned to it and almost did it fully in print, that's when it was really starting to work for me, and about halfway through, some inciting incidents for the series really start to happen, and then it took off as I started to really care about all of the POV characters. And I am so pumped to start Jade War probably this month and go through the rest of this trilogy soon, because this hooked me. I ended up giving it 4 stars, but really that second half was more like a 5-star level of engagement and investment. So I think this series is going to be a big hit with me. Next, I did a new release self-pub fantasy. That's The Severing Sun by Von Roycroft. I talked extensively about my experience with this in my mid-month check-in from a couple weeks ago, so check that out if you want to hear my extended thoughts. But I gave this 4 stars, ended up having a really good time with it. It feels a little low fantasy, almost like Faithful and the Fallen, with even less magic involved in the goings-on. But the writing style, the pacing feels very similar to Valor, middle books of the Faithful and the Fallen. And for a first book, that means things get started very fast. It doesn't do a lot of slow setup. And maybe I was missing a little bit of that, but by halfway through, I was fully invested in the story and the main characters. The fight scenes were incredible, intense, and I got very attached to the main character duo. And it's a very touching, sweet relationship, almost like if Rand and Avienda from maybe books like 4 and 5 of Wheel of Time, with a teenage boy who has this prophecy around him. He's in a very difficult, tough position. He has maybe a lot to be angry about. And he has this warrior guardian, Elon, who probably is there on the cover. But it's as if Rand and Avienda had a very sweet relationship where they got along much better early on in the Wheel of Time. And that's kind of this really nice dynamic at the heart of this book. And I am pumped to see where this goes. Yeah, I am fully invested in this, and this is very polished, could have easily been traditionally published. And yeah, Von Roycroft, big win for me. While I was doing that one fully in print, because there's no audiobook for it yet, and book 2 should be coming out within the next month or two, too, which is very exciting. And then I needed an audio read where I would just love just doing it on audio, and so I turned to Red Seas Under Red Skies. I didn't love Lies of Locke Lamora when I did it a few years ago, but I like the narrator Michael Page, and so I was doing this on audio almost fully, and the audio is just fantastic. Michael Page is just, his performance chops that he puts into it are so fun. And I was having a similar experience in the first few hundred pages as I did in book 1, where I didn't really get invested in the characters. A lot of the scenes were extremely long conversations that always felt like they went on too long. And there was just this mystery box of a plot where you're just not given any real clues about things that are going on until much later as reveals start to happen. But when this is advertised as kind of a pirate book, when they actually hit the high seas, I had a fantastic time with this. I ended up really loving this and getting really attached to the characters. Finally, the character work deepened for me, and I could see where everyone's coming from with all the love for Locke and Jean as a duo. That really shined in the second half of this book. I thought the action scenes, there's one real intense battle scene, is one of the most intense battle scenes I've ever read, and I did not expect that from Scott Lynch. The dialogue and the cleverness and the wit really shines and is just added to by Michael Page's performance. So yeah, this was a huge step up from my experience with book 1. So I am loving Gentlemen Bastards right now, and I'm excited to continue, and he's going to be releasing new sequel novellas soon, and so once those are ready to be published, I might try to dive into book 3 and continue the tale. And the last book I read was a chunker, and that was Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, book 1 of the Live Ship Traders trilogy, which I have been kind of wanting to get to for years, but I've never been able to pull the trigger until Colin at Colin's Corner wanted to do this buddy read for the trilogy, and it was the push I needed, and we had a great live chat. Thank so much, Colin, for coming on the channel and for being my buddy reader for this dense, heavy series. And you can check out that live chat from a few days ago. And yeah, maybe it's a big coincidence I did a lot of nautical fantasy between Tress and Red Seas Under Red Skies and then Ship of Magic, which is a good thing because it really works for me. When they actually got onto the high seas, just like in the previous book, I ended up really getting into the story. This one is a slow burn. It is the opposite of the pacing of The Severing Sun, where the inciting incidents happen quickly and it's just off to the races. This is a very deliberate, dramatic setup of this intergenerational family drama. There's economic tension here with families in debt and needing to crawl out of it. There's really interesting fantastical elements with serpents that we just get little peeks of, their POVs, which are really cool, with the live ships, and we get multiple POVs from different live ship characters, and I just couldn't have loved those more. And the fantasy aspects really brought this book to life for me. And the human drama, though, is where it's so deep and heavy. It was a bit, I wouldn't say tough, or it wasn't that it was overly dense. The writing was elegant, but the subject material is really hard to take sometimes because it feels so true to life and relatable in a lot of ways. And I'm sure that's why people love it so much, because all these characters feel flawed and complex. Even the ones you really want to root for don't always do exactly what you're hoping they do. There was just so much deep character work throughout, but the plot also really hooked me, and by the end, I was really engaged, and I couldn't put this down in the last couple hundred pages. And the ending scenes in this book were just fantastic and brought it up from 4 stars to a 5-star read for me, where I just need to continue this tale soon to see what's going to happen. And so I will be continuing this with this trilogy sometime later in the month with book 2, Mad Ship. I'll also be continuing my Song of Ice and Fire journey with Feast for Crows. And I might be continuing on with a Green Bun Saga with Jade War. Just so much heavy stuff. And so I'm trying to break it up a little bit with a palate cleanser. Monster Hunter International is a rec from Colton, a wonderful viewer of the channel. And so far it's doing exactly what I hoped, which is, yeah, it is so much lighter, fast-paced, action-heavy. That's definitely what I want from my palate cleansers. This is urban fantasy. So far, this is a good time, and the audio narration is also super fun, and love that. So perfect as a palate cleanser. Should be done with that any day now, and then I'll be continuing on with some more heavy hitters like Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. So yeah, I'm just trying to hit up some of the most popular fantasy authors in recent years, and so far it's been working for me a lot. Von Roycroft also might be sending me a physical arc, my first ever physical arc of book 2 of the Sundered Nation series, sequel to The Severing Sun, so I might be reading that soon. I just have so much great stuff. An embarrassment of riches, really, over here. I just wish I had more time to be able to get through everything even faster. My book of the month this month is a tough one. Sometimes it's very obvious. This time I had a great time with all of these. But I think the choice has to be Tress of the Emerald Sea. In terms of my sheer enjoyment, my easy falling into complete immersion into this, and just I could not put it down. I needed to see how it was going to play out. Got attached to the characters, the plot kept me in suspense. Yeah, perfect read for me. And Sanderson is probably my favorite fantasy author these days, so not the biggest surprise there, but certainly the Ship of Magic was a more towering, impressive literary achievement, and I think it's setting up something amazing with that trilogy. But for single book, I think I'll go with Tress for April. Alright, that was my month. Let me know about any of these reads and how you felt about them, anything you're excited to try, and tell me any favorite books from your last month. And yeah, I'll catch you later.